Yeah, it's me. Welcome to another edition of What the Fuck Happenings in YouTube Atheist Community. Probably should call it something else. What kind of community is it? Um, Happenings on YouTube that I've considered reasonably well relevant. I don't know. I gotta find a new YouTube somewhere. I knew something. Gotta do something. But anyway, I'll worry about that some other time. And superfluous other crap that I will talk about, I suppose. So we just go through the list here of stuff. Of course, I made videos. And, yeah, this one is a good icon. It's a good video, actually. Personal, but it's a good video. But most of them are mostly good. So anyway, I'm doing my job. Old fan, the movie things should be soon. Yeah, any day now. What else is news? Because that's it on the positive side. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so I did do a little bit of a room with DJ and Mike Mayul. But it's very strange. It's the second one I've done, and they're not public rooms for some reason. I mean, they don't, for whatever reason. Yeah, it just doesn't make much sense to me. It's because, I mean, I go into the room saying, okay, I got to keep my pants on and all this kind of stuff and blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, oh, that was a waste of time. I could have talked about penises and taking my clothes off. And, well, I'm just mean, if it's all for nothing, then, yeah, I don't think I'd talk about the shit I'd talk about because it's not that fucking interesting. I mean, the stuff you say for videos is probably different than the stuff you would do in a personal conversation. Probably. I don't know. I don't have either one anymore. It's really hard to communicate with anybody about anything. It's really hard to find a subject that really... So, yeah, so I'm kind of stuck in, like, the only thing that really interests me lately is the physics thing. Because, I have something to challenge for sure. And, yeah, it's like it's got some contest feel to it. It's get your brain thinking. And I guess it's new. I haven't done it before. Hasn't been said before. Hasn't been tried before. Where everything else you talk about, really, it's all stuff you've talked about before. So it all gets kind of samey. Yeah, yeah, I've made videos about everything, so all that's kind of covered in some respects or another. So anyway, so speaking of the physics thing, I did submit my first paper for publication. So hopefully I can get some peer review thing happening. And it's not post a link. It's the what do you call it? Inertia paper, and not terrible, not as good as it could be, but it's good enough for a first one, I suppose, first draft anyway. And so I'll do the other subjects, and the writing got a little easier as I went on. So it's just, I sort of feel like, okay, this might not be too bad. It would start off quite tedious, but still time consuming because you do have to think of science. You do have to think about what you're saying. Can't just do this shit. Yeah. So so I think maybe less videos, more writing in the future for a little while. I gotta get this thing. I really have to find out one way or another if I'm going to be able to get this argument to happen. Speaking of which, you just can't have a rational conversation with too many people. So there's this guy, and he's funny, the angry photographer guy, and but he's so arrogant, and you're just like, well, I mean, I'll play the beginning of this video because it's just kind of funny.
This is a video
even the title.
I think everybody should watch, especially even little kids.
I mean, even little kids, it's just so funny. It's just like his explanation is a perpetration through the it's all this words kids aren't even gonna come close to making any sense out of, and Yeah, it's just so. But yes, little Timmy, the ether does exist, and proof of same is everywhere around you. I mean, no, it's not. If there was proof of what you're saying, then you wouldn't have to make this argument. And it's just, there is no proof of this. I mean, I'm arguing there is an ether, but it's not a dead ether. It's an active ether. That's where the energy comes from for gravity and all the rest of this stuff. And it's all particles, not all waves. I mean, it's just so, he's got it completely wrong again. It's just, and he's taking the wave thing so far that he's to the right of Feynman, in my opinion. It's funny, he's arguing that Feynman's an asshole and an idiot, or Einstein's an asshole and an idiot, and he thinks they're assholes and idiots because they concede the existence of something like a particle, where he wants to turn everything into some kind of perturbation, some sort of something you can't draw a picture of, that you can't say, well, if you cut it in half, this is what it looks like, and if you cut that in half, this is what it looks like. It's all this magical stuff. The stuff goes from here, and it's this stuff, though. It's not a thing. It's just it's a coaxial stuff thing. I'm sorry, that's just not nearly... It's not a description or an explanation. It's nothing. And he's just so arrogant, though. It's just... I'll play the end. So preposterous.
That the ether existed just as, anybody with half a brain, and really,
and this is part of his style too, which is kind of funny. I mean, he's arguing like, okay, people should discuss physics, and he's willing to debate physics, but he doesn't want it to be, this negative shit. But that's all he's about. He just keeps ridiculing all these dead people and insulting their mothers, and it's just, it's just lame. Everybody's an imbecile if they don't think Tesla was the god of everything.
The world basically doesn't have anybody with 1/10 of a brain. Knows that ultimately that this light bulb isn't emitting a damn thing. It is setting up a field pressure compression and rarefaction. Okay, this is...
Yeah, a kid is supposed to know what the fuck that was. Compression, depression, rarefaction. What? Yeah, you see, there's no photons coming out of there. There's just waves, and somehow the waves wear the little filament out, and it breaks eventually because the waving just wears it out somehow. Didn't really use anything. Nothing got used up. It just somehow just wore out, I guess. The waviness didn't like getting waved. You can't wave waves too much. Everything's a wave, you see, and then the wave got overly waved, and that's why the wave broke its waveness.
A field perturbation.
Field perturbation. I mean, what the hell do you do with that? We're supposed to all understand that. I'm supposed to be able to say, oh, God, well, yeah, that makes it all make so much more sense. It's all just a field perturbation. Yeah. I've had a few of those in my pants.
The same thing with a magnet, that I can turn it on its side. And the Gaussian flux only reaches out about yay far. So how is it affecting a cathode ray tube at 30?
Well, that's just basic science. You see, there's an inverse square rule to the magnet strength. You see, and so for every for every distance, for every half of a distance, it's 4 times the loss of its strength. So you can just do the mathematics over some distance, and it's like holding. So it's like cutting this magnet in half at half the distance, and then you go half of that distance, you cut it cutting it in a quarter. So you take a quarter, you take 3/4 off of the magnet at halfway, and then you take that piece and you do 3/4, 1/4 again. And you just keep doing that, and by the time you get to the TV, you'll have a little magnet. Okay, you'll have a little bit left, not much, but a little bit. And it's enough to make the TV go funky, so you can sort of understand why it's still affecting the TV 20 feet away, because it's a big fucking magnet. That wasn't difficult.
That's the ether, baby, like someone flapping their arms in the middle of a pond. This is the arm length of someone in the pond. It's about 4 feet or so, or whatever the hell it is.
Well, again, like I said, where do you get that from? I mean, even Feynman wasn't arguing anything like that, Gravity goes forever. Magnetism goes theoretically forever, just that it gets preposterously weak.
have 8 arms, maybe a little bit longer. You think he's reaching someone at the other shore? He's actually reaching out like 100 feet to the other shore? No, he's actually flapping his waves in the water, and he's sending out waves that are affecting.
I don't see what the point of using those examples are. You know, I mean, waterways is just such a bad example because obviously they're not frictionless. They don't go anything. They're not. They don't function anything like anything that might be considered a wave in the physics sense. You know, when you're talking about you know, light waves, but there's no waves. It's silly anyway. There's frequency. Frequency of occurrence. Frequency of arrival of a bit. God damn it.
Other things. There's nothing emitted by this magnet anymore.
Yeah, there is. Actually, gravity goes in, magnetism comes out. That's the way it happens. Gravity's coming from all directions, of course. But it's polarized, and so it's converting the gravity into polarized gravity. That's why it's a magnet. The energy for the magnet is the same source as the energy that pushes the Earth into the sun. It's the push, the field, the ether, the active ether, not the dead ether.
So that there's anything being emitted by this stupid light bulb. Now why don't you ask yourself, you know, what is magnetic permeability? What is dielectric?
Well, I guess I'll go ask a kid. They're supposed to somehow know.
Permittivity. Everything in the universe is forced.
Permittivity. I mean, I'm just saying. You know, this is an honest critique. I mean, what do you want somebody to do with these words? I mean, you really think that if I walked down the street and I said permittivity to people, they'd know what the fuck, any of them would know it. How long do you think I'd have to walk that street before somebody'd say, oh yeah, I heard of that word. Oh yeah, there's a guy, you know, angry photographer guy, he says it all the time. But where else are they going to hear this fucking word? Oh, that's right, nowhere else.
Motion and inertia and acceleration. And I'll
yeah, inertia and acceleration of what? Of a wave, of nothing, of a blah blah blah, in the magical blah blah blah, doing the woo woo woo. I mean, this is just all nothing. Nothing I can look at and say, okay, I get it. The big universe tells us that, you know, this crap about waves down at the bottom isn't really going to work. The big universe is running the same rules apply in many respects. And what do you see in the big universe? You see bits of shit banging into bits of shit. Well, that's what's happening in the little universe too.
I'll tell you that nobody on this earth can quantize the field for you.
Well, I can quantize it really easy by just saying it has quantum in it, and the quantum's all moving the speed of light. Photons without a frequency. It's really quite obvious when you think about it. How would you see a photon if it didn't have a frequency? Oh yes, you wouldn't. It would look like gravity, yeah.
I can give it qualities over a given period of time, but you cannot quantize it because it is...
Well, this idea that you cannot quantize it when we've completely mathematically quantized all of it. So, I mean, it's just silly to say you can't. You can figure out exactly how big a nuclear explosion will be. I mean, all these things are calculatable. So to say you can't quantize it is just in the face of every fact we do know. So it's just an outrageous, it's a silly thing to say. Claim it as a fact.
Absolutely impossible to quantize a field because there is no quantity that makes up a field.
Again, says you, in spite of, you know. Well, anyway, so I did post a request for a debate, and there was a lot of back and forth, blah, blah, blah. He didn't know how to do a room where you can have people in it. I explained you can just hit the linky thing, blah, blah, blah. Well, anyway, we'll see if he's willing. But I'd like to just get to this argument, not even having an argument about physics, but just an argument about what kind of standard of proof are we obligated to present. And can you, I mean, am I really expected to just say perturbation, and like that's okay, that's enough? I don't think it's enough. So anyway, enough of that. Sorry, I'm really tired for some reason. A little bit slurry. Anyway, so enough of that. But yeah, I'm just, looking for... I was thinking I'd do a live room on physics and see if anybody shows up. But, it's just... Nobody shows up that has enough... that means people try to play along, but you have to have some knowledge of physics, actually. I am... I can give physics lessons, I suppose. But, I don't know if that's something I want to be doing. Alright, so I'll do a little bit of holiday here. I mean, it's such... that's the problem with these. People are just such grotesque liars. So anyway, I have kept my word. I didn't watch this Anaconda VOD video, or this Anaconda VOD video, or this one, or this one. So I'm forward behind now. But yeah, he's just lying about what Benatar says, and what Benatar believes, and what Benatar argues, and what, just lying about a person, and then create this straw man to knock down. So he's just completely straw manning Benatar. And, apparently the lying scum on YouTube applaud that kind of thing. He's not getting downgraded for it or getting any crap for it. He just is allowed to do it. Just, take somebody's book, lie about it, and make videos about your lies about his argument. Somehow that's okay with you, criminals. But that's because you all suck. So anyway, speaking of lying scum, Hothler Day, inmendham agrees again, no obligation is a philosophy. I mean, he titles a video, just outrageously. I haven't agreed with anything you say about anything, clearly. I haven't agreed at all. I've said over and over again the term logical obligation. I've used it so many times that you even made a video about, well, what's a logical obligation? And I had to explain it all to you. So there's no doubt about my what I'm saying quite explicitly. So no obligation in his philosophy. I said there's no obligation, like the police aren't going to show up and force you to comply. There's no physical force. The wind will not push you to be a good person. The wind won't make you do it. The ocean will not rise out of the sea and, kick you in the ass and say, be a good guy. The only thing that can do it is your understanding. You have to understand the facts and understand that they point in a direction which is you need to be productive or you suck. So the obligation is, if you don't want to suck or be an asshole, you have to do this try to be a good person thing. You have to try to be productive. Because if you're not, you're destructive and an asshole. So the obligation only exists if you don't want to be an asshole. Duh. So 37 minutes lying about my position, right? It's going to do 37 minutes defending an outrageous lie. And this is after he just did a video again pointing out, my name is Justice because my mommy wanted me to be part of the Justice League. Well, your mother's obviously an ignorant motherfucking cunt slut. Because she didn't teach you what the word justice means. You're a lying, conniving, scheming cheater. You're an outrageous cheater. You can't win the argument fairly, so you have to misparaphrase and pervert what people have said. That's not justice, asshole. You can't even figure out what that word means. You can't get logic right, you can't get fact right, and certainly you can't get justice right. You stupid imbecile. So, anyway, I just amazing. So, yeah, fuck you. that's my answer to that video. I didn't watch it, and I'm not going to. Fuck you, liar. So, anyway, Piro. So, this scumbag, talk about, fat micro-penis losers. Yeah. Anyway, Quantica guy. Oh, Christ. Just another liar. They're all over the place. They're all fat. Just sort of turn out that way. Piro's just an idiot. Silly person. He's just a silly person. And Vic is a sick motherfucking cunt. Anyway, So we'll see what they're talking about. They were just talking about transgender and how, oh well, they're too, they want too much attention and they're too this and they're too. Well, who cares? I mean, all of this stuff is so turn-offable. You don't want to see, if you want to go through life without even knowing transgender exists, you could pretty much do it. I mean, it might show up on the Oscars somewhere, or somebody else, someplace else. Who cares? But if you don't care, you don't have. It really isn't all that egregious to step over it. You know what I mean? It's not like it's shit on every sidewalk here. You can walk pretty far without having to step over a pile of transgender shit if it offends you. So this is like the feminism argument, all this shit, all this whining and bitching about something you don't have to know anything about if you don't want to know anything about it. It doesn't have to affect you in one fucking little miserable way. This is so stupid. But anyway, so who cares? Yeah, I don't. So let's go to the live and see what they're talking about now. No, just say goodnight,
Little
Gracie.
fire eating mud patties, and
Well, they're just playing games here.
you know they're literally weigh like 40 pounds soaking wet. You know, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not.
Another
Yeah.
fat guy.
So I don't think that is a quality life, and I can't imagine that they're enjoying their life. So to extend their life, simply give them more medicine so they can, you know, drag on for another.
He wants to kill the retards. But anyway, yeah, whatever. Yeah, look, there's so much inefficiency in how people cherish, how they, you know, their definition of beauty and then the way they show their respect for it is just so disgusting. But yes, it's this whole idiotic thing. The amount of money spent on the victims of 9/11 compared to the average amount of money spent on the average widow or orphan created by a drunk driver. I mean, you know, an outrageously disproportional attention paid. No less a victim, just as horrific. There's little kids right now who saw their mother's head knocked the fuck right off her shoulders, right in front of their faces, sitting in a car because some drunk plowed into them at 70 miles an hour. And he's gonna live the rest of his life with that fucking thing in his head. What does he get? Tough shit, kid. That's what he gets. Dime nothing. Orphanage. Shitty orphanage. Please, sir, can I have some more? That kind of orphanage. Probably getting raped. But the victim of 9/11, oh, well, we gotta make them all billionaires. They're special. Die in a plane crash, you were a somebody. You know, die as a pedestrian walking across the street, fuck you. I mean, no rationality. The whole fucking civilization is just made out of fucking shit because most people are dumb motherfuckers with big mouths. They just don't know how stupid they are. They're not forced to defend their bullshit. Nobody obliges them to humiliate themselves properly by being interrogated publicly just to find out how silly their idiotic notions of reality are. That's what it is. Really, we all should be interrogated to defend the shit we believe and the shit we say and the shit we vote for. Something like that anyway. People should be forced to defend their existence. Life fucking everydayers. Anyway, enough of that. So I think that's it, right? I don't need to mess with much else here. I'll just keep doing my thing and see how it goes. So, yeah, that's it for now. So, old fan movie soon. I mean, I was going to wait to make the old what the fuck till she had the movie, so I could say, hey, there's the link. But, yeah, that's not here yet, so still waiting. Anyway, till next time, and such. necessary. I think. Well, I guess I could mention marbles on a lot, but another useless. I mean, there's just nobody to respond to. They're all idiots. He makes a video talking about stupid seeds on the ground. He's talking, you know, like the birds put them there on purpose, for him to get. I mean, it's just, why do people play with stupid ideas like that? If the birds leave any seeds, it's because, yes, they're programmed to leave some so more trees grow. That's the whole. Their future birdlets won't have any seeds to eat if they don't keep planting trees. So yeah, there's a certain functionality in everything things do. So if some animal does something that looks weird or seems strange, there's a reason. Anyway, till next time. And the reason is because you're special. That will not be the reason. Anyway, okay. Everybody's just so fucking silly. People are either silly or stupid. It's just, or smelly. Silly, stupid, smelly. They're all three. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, this was depressing. Yeah, shit. I gotta quit doing the internet. Anyway, till next time. And such.